the button. And it sits there whirring for a little while. There we go, and we are live. Hello and welcome to Tech Tuesday. We are the Balding Gamers. Here.
Yes, we are Balding.
We are definitely
and we
Balding.
play games.
Although I was called out in a recent video, and someone put Balding ? More like bald. So.
Oh, see, I mean, they don't know you like I know you, Sean. Lean down, lean over. Oh, it's hard to see with those headphones on. Basically, yeah. Sean has a 6 head. he's got it's more than a 5 head, let's face it.
It
is.
Very
thick here, but up the front, he's not thick at all. Whereas me, I'm just thin all over. I'm very follically challenged. I can't grow sideburns. I can't grow eyebrows. I almost call them eyeburns. And I'm very thin all over the top.
It's very true.
Haircut seems to help.
Yeah, exactly. So I can still just about grow some hair. And we can't seem to win when we both had a little bit of hair on top. Everyone's like, you're not even balding. I say,
yeah.
We are, so you know what? We are the Balding Gamers. This is Tech Tuesday, and this is the only place you come for your gaming and tech news. I hope,
From
anyway.
Balding people.
From Balding
people. I don't know
people.
any famous Balding tech people.
There's probably
some. Many tech people,
yeah, I was going to say, I don't really know many. So let's move swiftly on with our first point. I'll let you lead this one since you wrote it down, but it makes me very sad.
I wrote this down in a deliberate attempt to upset Sean. So Shadow Gaming, one of the cloud gaming services, has filed for bankruptcy in America and was placed in receivership in France. So a Shadow service provider, 2CRSI, don't know who they are, want to reclaim 30.2 million euros worth of hardware from Blade. So effectively, they are looking for new investors, but these people want to take all the hardware from Shadow Gaming, and it doesn't seem like there'll be a way to recover from it. No,
and we talked about this, I think a couple of weeks ago, actually. Shadow Gaming came up on there. The fact that we wanted is one of the services that we really wanted to test out, because we've done a lot of cloud gaming, and it tends to always be Nvidia GeForce Now. And the waiting list, I think it was November, would be the earliest that you'd be able to actually play this service if you're in the UK. And overall, it was it's a really compelling service, because the fact is you rent your own rig rather than at GeForce Now you're renting time on a gaming rig to be able to play your game. With this, if you want to do some movie editing or something like that, you could do that. So it was a really compelling service. It's just Apple shafted them. That's absolutely shafted them.
Typical.
Yeah, typical. So, one of our videos, I think it was about 4 weeks back now, their app got yanked from the App Store for both iPad and for the iPhone. And up until then, you could play Shadow Gaming on that. So you could load up your Shadow app, get access to a remote PC, do your work, you could do your gaming and everything else like that. And then, without giving any reasons or anything like that, Apple killed it and basically said, nope, not allowed this. Didn't really give them any reasons. It wasn't the first time that Apple had done it as well. So the previous year, Apple did it as well. So I think it was April in 2020. Apple pulled it from the App Store, and they had to go through a whole load of hoops to get the app back onto the application store. So that in itself is going to be...
Apple are like a partner which keep cheating on you. Why do you keep going back?
Yes.
You know, I mean, because they're millionaires, obviously.
Trillionaires. So yeah, that was never going to help them.
No.
And then also as well, the GPU shortage. It's, ultimately they've got to a stage where it's like, right, brilliant, we've got the service, it's really popular, people are wanting to play it, but then they couldn't expand. So when you've got wait times until November, that is just...
So, I mean, this the provider, 2CRSI, are they just reclaiming loads and loads of hardware? That's what's happening. They're taking all the PCs or whatever. So they're going to be like, I've got like 30,000 2080 Ti's back there. We'll sell them. I mean, they'll probably make more money.
Well, that's it. That could be another thing as well, where they start and go, well, actually, if we liquidate the entire company now, we've sat on that many GPUs, and we only bought them for a small amount, and now we could sell them for 4 or 5 times the amount, and just... Oof. PC gaming. PC hardware. It's mental.
It seems weird to me. I don't know the ins and outs of the story, but it seems like 2CRSI just claimed this hardware, and then Shadow Gaming would be like, but that's going to do is it's going to bankrupt us. Like, is there not like contracts or anything for this? I don't know if you know. But...
Again, it's almost like a lot of I suppose a lot of the big UK retail high street stores that went under tended to be that they had finance agreements, and then their financiers can call in the payments at any stage, and it can just basically destroy a company overnight. So could be something similar to that. Yeah, exactly. And again, if they've got an agreement where they've said we're going to hit, I don't know, 1 million users and 1 million subscribers, but they can't expand the service because they can't get the hardware, then ultimately Shadow aren't able to keep to their end of the contracts, not through any fault of their own. But so we don't know what's going on in the background. We don't know what's caused it. But the Apple situation isn't going to help because that's that's a core component. Yeah, it's going to be a major thing, and it was one of the major selling points of their service was the fact that unlike other cloud gaming services, you couldn't use it, but with theirs you could. And then Apple just went in.
Now coming to Apple as well. It's probably like Shadow could see, 2C RSI could see that. Well, there's competitors now, so they're probably not going to make all that money back and just snatched it.
So yeah, shame to lose one of those. So it looks as though 2021 is definitely not the year for cloud gaming that I predicted it might be, since we seem to be kind of losing Google Stadia.
It's just not the year for gaming at all, I don't think. It's
an odd year for gaming. It's obviously triumphant for supplier, and just somewhat of a nightmare for everybody else who wants to be involved.
Bit of a pain, bit of a shame.
Bit of a
pain.
Talking
of a bad year for gaming. So there was a fire at the Rust Service Centre in Strasbourg, France. Ooh. So nearly all the EU servers were affected, and all that information's been lost. So this happened. It's last Wednesday, I think. Proper major fire. I don't know if anyone's injured. I don't think they were. That wasn't mentioned on the articles read, but that could be a major blow. Imagine if, like, I've never played Rust, but we've played a lot of Valheim. Could you imagine if we lost our world?
Well, we can't because it's on my server. If my house set on fire and we lost Boldlands, that's the name of our world in Valheim, by the way. Yeah, I suppose, on a bigger scale.
Are you inviting people?
They might destroy it. Yeah, that would be a major kicker, but I would imagine they'll have it backed up elsewhere. Most actual companies don't run the server from my house.
Yeah, no, they said all information's lost. That's the server information gone. Like, that is that. So a major, especially because Rust just got massive again on Twitch, and it just grew massively from that. Now it seemed to die down again. Maybe the fire caused it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is set on fire. That's crazy. Isn't something like the 3 R's is the major rule of data? You have redundancy. You have it backed up in 3 separate locations.
Yeah, but Rust, it's toxic.
Fireproof, so we've got a comment in there. Fireproof your house, Sean. I'm going to have to fireproof my house because we don't have the 3 R's. We just have me. So that's a kicker.
At least you can't make any static. You're not going to get any static fires.
I could if you see my chest. Oh,
right, not that's
not that kind of stream.
That's late night YouTube.
Moving swiftly on, and this is one that I wanted to talk about, and I forgot to write it down. So, Nvidia are apparently coming to the end of life on their Tegra chip, the Tegra X1, which is used. So basically, it's used the chip inside of the. What am I trying to say? The chip inside of the Nintendo Switch. Oh, exactly. So it's the chip that's inside the Nintendo Switch. It's also in charge inside of things like the Shield TV and the Shield tablets and stuff like that.
Portable gaming.
Yeah, it's their portable mobile GPU. So that will be very interesting. So reports from supply chain are reporting that it's going to start coming to the end of production towards the end of the year. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean anything major at all. They did have a revision of the chip, which basically went into the newer version of the Nintendo Switch that didn't get a rename or anything like that. So it could potentially just be that they're making a more efficient chip or something like that. That's going to go into a revised Nintendo Switch. But with
last
the
week
rumours,
we talked about the Pro, didn't we?
Exactly. There are so many rumours at the moment from supply chain and everything else that we're going to see a Nintendo Switch Pro, and it's looking more and more likely that we're going to see a Pro variant and maybe something that just takes over from the Nintendo Switch completely. So potentially you'll only be able to buy a Switch Lite and then a Switch Pro.
I don't remember. So the Switch came out 3 years ago. Was it how high demand was it? Was it sold out everywhere?
Yes.
You know, like the PS5 and everything. But
Yeah.
it got into stock really quickly, didn't it?
No, they restocked it a lot, but it was almost impossible to buy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was a massively successful device, and it was sold out for 8. In fact, it's still really hard to get hold of. And I know COVID has contributed to that, but buying a Nintendo Switch right now, at least over the last few months, has been really difficult.
I kind of get it over the past few months, but like, that's weird.
Yeah, so it's been crazy popular, and they're still reporting massively high like software sales and everything else as well. So it feels like one of those double-edged things of Nintendo don't really need to do anything with the Switch because it's still selling like hotcakes and software sales are still massively up. But it does kind of feel as though it would be nice to have a Pro device because just, I don't know, an example right now, Apex Legends has just come out and apparently by all accounts, in fact, we do need to test it out and have a play with it, but from all accounts it's a blurry mess and just not that playable. It's interesting that they've managed to port it onto the Nintendo Switch, but overall it's not a good experience.
So they do need something like Nintendo has never been a graphics competitor. They've always been a cookie like, oh, I can take the controllers off. Oh, look at this, I've got a thing. Like if Nintendo just put a little bit more effort, maybe the wrong word, if they put a little more something in like making their consoles compete.
Powerful. Yeah, and I don't think they even need to.
Like the PS4.
Yeah, but I don't think they need to do that. It needs to be able to play the games that are available for it. That needs to be literally the bottom line and minimum requirement. Playing them in less than 720p is unacceptable, in my opinion. If these games are coming out, they need to be able to play 30 frames per second, 720p is a bare minimum, and go from there. But at the moment, they're not doing that. And the more demanding these titles are that are coming out, you can start to see the strain. And like we said last week, when you look at things like Pokemon Arceus or Arceus, however it's pronounced, that ran like death in the trailer that they showed off. So you just think that there must be something around the corner that they're going to bring out, and whether or not it's going to be a midlife cycle, which Nintendo tend to do, or a Nintendo Switch 2. And I can't see a 2 coming out anytime soon, so it's got to be something. A refreshed hardware. And the fact that Nvidia have their chip going into life, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know in the comments. Would you like to see a Pro? Would you like to see just a Nintendo Switch 2? Or do you want them just to not touch it?
Just leave it.
Just leave it. Leave it as is. Let it keep doing what it's doing. So, in fact, tomorrow this one's going to be. So we've got news for news. We've got news for news. But finally, Dying Light 2 is going to be getting some news. We're going to be finally hearing what the hell is happening with that game. Now, obviously I say that it's news for news, but actually they did come out, so the developers have said that they announced it too soon.
Yep.
They stupidly did that whole thing of they announced the game too soon, showed off footage too soon, and they weren't in a stage where they could really call a date for announcements. So,
I mean, all credit to them. Like, I'm glad they've come out and said that, being like, we made a mistake.
Yeah,
we didn't want to release a rubbish game. We just said we're going to do it too soon because, I mean, Dying Light was massive, so they probably were like, the bean counters, bring them back.
Oh yes,
just say something. Let's ramp it up.
Let's do a tease.
It's going to be exciting. Like,
Hopefully,
it's definitely a game I'm excited for.
Yeah,
I just want to see a bit of it. That's all I want.
I think he's about to cry. And they
cry.
have said that they're not in development hell. I mean, they're not going to come out and announce that they are. Yeah, we're in development hell. We're really stuck here. So, they've batted that side and said, look, we're not in development hell. We just announced it too soon, but we've got news coming and stuff to show you. So they're going to address the community. They're going to show some things off. So hopefully we'll get to see some new footage, find out roughly when it's going to come out. And
we'll do an article on it. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess I'll be really, really, really overexcited if they just come out and boom, next month it's available. Yeah.
Imagine if they just released it tomorrow. Here it is.
If they do a Fallout 4 where it's like literally, here's the trailer. Oh, and by the way, it's available in a couple of weeks.
Do they need to say that camply?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Here's the trailer, and here's the game.
Yeah,
you'd be like, no, I don't care. But if they come out like, here's the trailer, and here's the game.
Boom! Exactly. And I never quite understand why developers and studios and everything feel the need to show off their games like 5 years in advance.
No,
it just.
Destiny 2 did that. So,
there's been a few times. I can't think of it off the top of my
Cyberpunk's
head.
the main culprit right now. They showed videos of that ages ago, and then every year they would release another video. They'd look worse than the one before.
Yeah.
They're just easing us into the rubbish.
Yeah, it just seems mad. And I get that they try to go for pre-orders and everything, but most of the time they don't announce the game and enable pre-orders. You have to wait like a couple of years in advance. So, just hang fire a little bit, developers. Here's our balding tip.
Metroid 4. Metroid Prime games are some of the best FPSs I ever played on GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
They've not brought it to Nintendo Switch. Fix that, Nintendo.
They're not gonna.
Let's not talk about that. But they talked about Metroid 4 ages ago. Like, when the Switch came out, they were like, oh, by the way, we're making Metroid 4.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Nothing else. And that's a sound effect they did.
Yeah,
and
I thought so.
That's a game I'm excited about, which hasn't been even mentioned by them, I think.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
Yeah, it's weird when games do that. They just kind of disappear by the wayside, never to be heard of ever again.
Yeah.
And just stop announcing them too soon. It gets everybody's hopes up. I think people just build it up in their heads to be something it's not going to be.
I think it's always going to be bad. If you announce it that early, it doesn't matter how good the game is.
Yeah.
It's going to be not to people's expectations.
No, exactly. It's just... they've got nothing to show, and it means I tend to lose hype. I remember, you see, Apple have always been really good. So coming back from the phone industry, Apple were always really, really good at being like, boom, here's our new product, and by the way, you can pre-order it in 3 days' time, and it ships the week after. And everybody suddenly is like, oh my god, this is it's great, I can't wait to get my hands on the product, I'm going to go out and pre-order it. And no one has time to die down and think, oh, actually... no, it's only, slightly upgraded. I don't need this. No one has that time to stop themselves from buying or pre-ordering it. Whereas, like, other phone manufacturers, the mistake they always used to make was like, oh, yeah, boom, in 2 or 3 months' time, we've got this new upgrade coming out, and here's all the spec. You'll be able to pre-order it in 2 months' time. Because everyone at first was like, oh, boom, it's great, I'm really excited. And by the time the pre-order date or the launch came around, it's like, I'm bored of it now. I was excited, I couldn't buy it. It was stupid.
Yeah. Another thing about phone pre-orders is when they change the pre-order gift. You've got 3 months to pre-order the phone. First 3 months, you get something mint. Second 3 months, something worse. A month before, here's a tenner. Like, they change it as well. They change the pre-orders. And, like, in the business, you see the pre-orders just drop off because, like you said, people lose interest.
Yeah, but I think that's more of a network thing rather than a...
Nah, it's for
manufacturer. It's not the phone companies. It's greedy, useless phone networks.
I blame Samsung.
Okay, we'll blame Samsung. Right, moving swiftly on. My phone stopped there. HomePod! Apple HomePod got discontinued.
I've never used it. Is it just an Alexa?
So much more than an Alexa. This is the most magical, most... I'm going to stop doing the Apple thing now. So, just to be clear, the HomePod has been discontinued. That's the big one rather than the HomePod Mini. So, the HomePod Mini got released back end of last year. Massively, massively successful. Sold out all over the place because it was far more competitive. The HomePod itself was always a hard sell. By all accounts, and hearing it myself, it sounded amazing. Like, really, really, really good sound quality. And even at that price point, it was really good sound quality. The problem is, it entered into a market of smart speakers that have gotten smarter and smarter and smarter. Whereas Siri is probably going to turn on every single device now in my household and annoy the hell out of me. Siri, I don't get it. Like, literally, Apple were one of the first to market with their voice assistant. And it sucks. Like, for basic tasks, it's okay. And I remember when I first used one of the Echo Dots, I ordered it, and it arrived to the shop when I was working in Hull, and we were all playing around with it and able to talk to it, and like you'd have music on it, and then it would go quiet to listen to you, and it was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is like the future of voice assistants. And it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's continued to get better and better. Whereas Apple's has just stayed crap.
Yeah, and like you said, like Siri is so random. It just starts like, "Yes, how can I help you?" I've been silent for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Why are you talking to us? So, but I mean, like you said, the Mini's still doing well, and a fourth of the price of the
yeah. So
HomePod?
it's 99 quid. Yeah, exactly.
It's a sellotape.
Yeah, and the problem with your HomePod as well is, although it has a half decent feature set, it suddenly becomes a hard sell because if you look at Sonos, for example, they have a whole ecosystem. So if you want, you could buy the Sonos One speaker, which is just your single type speaker, or you could have a home cinema setup, or you could have something that's really focused at music, or just the home cinema and nothing else around the house. And then they've got a choice of voice assistants, so you can use Alexa, you can use Google Assistant. And they also support AirPlay, so if you really wanted to and you're a savage, you could use Siri through your phone device or something like that. So that's just one example. And then you look at what Google has to offer, and they have a large range of different speakers, and so does Amazon as well. So, for example, if you wanted to get into the Amazon ecosystem, you could buy some Echo Dots and have them around the house in different rooms to do your smart assistant stuff. And then you could have your more powerful speakers in a room where you're going to use them all the time. And then if you wanted to, you could put Sonos in and use Alexa across all your different devices, whereas Apple have a big HomePod or a little HomePod.
I do think that the Alexa or Amazon Dots just look better as well. I was never a fan of the look of the Apple one. It just seemed too Apple. I don't want some modern art piece sitting on my table. I just want something subtle, almost hidden away.
Yeah.
That's why I think
so whether or not they come back to it, I would imagine there'll be something else that comes out in the future. It seems odd for them to abandon the segment completely, but it's rare that Apple discontinue a product without something new coming out to take over from it.
Maybe they're bringing out their whole charge pad thing.
Oh, shut up. Air power or whatever it is. So we do have a comment in there. So, hey guys, how's the Retro Pocket 2? So anybody, I suppose, in fact, a lot of new subscribers to the channel have come across because we've been doing more retro gameplay, and the Retroid Pocket 2 is something that I picked up quite recently, and I love it. We've just done a review on it, and actually it was surprisingly good. So anybody who's not too sure what it is, it's basically handheld emulation game device like an old Game Boy, but it can emulate things like PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, N64, PSP, DS. It's a great bit of kit. Like, really good fun. And
how much was it again?
It cost me £80. And
Before...
they retail between, it depends on seems to be like the time of the day for whatever. The prices fluctuate like mad. So I reckon you'd get it for about £100, £110.
But then for what, 7? How many consoles worth of games?
A lot of consoles. A lot of consoles that are packed into that thing. Performance is really impressive as well. And a lot of people, oddly, in it have said that for newbies, it's not particularly easy to use. But I would absolutely say that when it comes to any kind of game emulation, I am a newbie. Now, with tech, I am pretty savvy and I do know my way around things, but it's relatively easy to get going. You literally start it up. It runs Android, so you're probably going to be familiar with it. And then you install the launcher, and bam, you've got access to a whole library of games. If you want to use your own emulators, you can do that on there. If you want to download all your own games, you can do that on there. It's a surprisingly good bit of kit. And we are going to be just kind of off topic of news here, but asked about it, love the device. We're going to be doing more videos like that in the future as well, so we're going to probably try and get our hands on a few more devices like it, and we're also going to be doing a little bit more about retro consoles as well, just because it's just fun. It's just fun and nostalgic.
I mean, Sean mentioned there that you can download any emulators, any ROMs for it, but if you do, make sure you own the game as well.
Exactly, yeah, that's why I've always show off all my Pokemon games. Yeah. Don't do anything naughty. Don't go getting caught out. But yeah, no, we're going to be doing more on retro type consoles as well. So I've just dug out my 2DS, and we're going to be doing a video on whether or not that is worth still playing in 2021. And spoiler alert, it absolutely is. There's so many games to play on that.
And they're cheap. That's the thing. The games are cheap. With Nintendo, you don't think they would be.
The games aren't that cheap.
Some of them are.
Some of them are, but
the main ones aren't because you know it's Nintendo and it's Zelda or Mario. Or Pokemon.
Yeah, but Ocarina of Time, brand new, $14.99.
But they made loads of that. How much is Majora's Mask for infinitely better game?
Don't know. Probably a lot.
Yeah, it's about £40. And it's just better.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're going to be playing around with a lot of retro consoles, so stay tuned for that. So yes, to answer your question, Retro Pocket 2, great bit of kit, and it's definitely got me interested in those sort of devices. So that's going to be a money pit. Damn.
Yeah.
Almost as bad as Liam and Pokemon cards, but let's not mention that. So, moving on. This was odd because how we tend to do news, and we use Apple Notes, so one of us will start writing something, and then sometimes the other like comments back on this. So, Outriders is coming to Game Pass at launch, and Liam apparently wasn't surprised by this.
Well, no, I wasn't surprised because you messaged me on Facebook, which we never do. We just put the news in the list and we discuss it now, Sean. That is how we work.
Okay, sorry.
And then you were like, "Oh, look at this," and then I was like, "Oh, yeah, I know. I was just going to type it on there." And then I went on the thing and you typed it. I was like, because the issue Sean and I have is we have good crap, but we can't rehearse it. Like,
no, absolutely
if we
not.
Talked about something, we would be talking about it now. We'd be like, "Outriders is coming to Game Pass." Yeah, looks pretty good. Looks like a good game. Day one.
That is basically how it would go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have to avoid talking about anything in advance, so it's very awkward. We have a lot of silent time. But yeah, Outriders coming to Game Pass at launch, so day one. So they teased it. There was a really stupid email and announcement that came out, and then they confirmed that it was coming. But I really enjoyed it. There's a demo available at the moment, and it's free of charge to play. So if you are interested in that, to me it felt like Gears of War had a baby with Destiny.
I mean, that sounds amazing to me.
Yeah,
that sounds right up my street.
It's really good fun. It's cooperative play as well. If you get the demo, all your progress carries over into the full game as well. So, it's been a long time since we saw developers or anything put out a demo for people to play. So you can find out. It wasn't even on my radar. I played it, really enjoyed it. So it's probably something I would look at picking up on launch. But it just shows how aggressive Microsoft are with Game Pass. Like, all the Bethesda titles coming across to 16 new Bethesda titles got added, which is no surprise. Obviously they now own them. Yeah. But then the likes of Outriders coming across onto Game Pass. Now, oddly, I believe it's only going to be Xbox and xCloud. It's not going to be available on PC.
Oh, is it not? No, I mean, I suppose if they put it on PC, they lose so much money. Like the thing, I'm getting so drawn to Xbox now.
Yeah.
Like, PlayStation needs to do something. Sony really needs to do something because
they have to react.
The controller and about 3 Sony official only games. They're doing nothing for us. Like and like you said, Microsoft could just throw in everything to game in, like £8 a month for Game Pass if you've already paid for it.
Yeah.
And then Outriders day one. That's going to be a £60 game.
Yeah.
So you just play that. That's your money worth for 5 months. 6 months.
Yeah.
7 months.
6, but yeah, let's go with 6 months. Oh my god, stop counting. But yeah, it is. It literally is such a compelling proposition at the moment. I mean, obviously you can't buy Xboxes and you can't buy PlayStation 5, so there's no point even having that conversation. But ultimately, Game Pass is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's what they said in spring. They were going to be announcing more to come with the fact that it's going to be coming across onto iOS and iPads. And there was also going to be, I believe, it's PC streaming. No, we don't have PC streaming. So streaming on your PC as well. So ultimately, if you are then an Xbox player and you have a low-end laptop, you'll be able to play your Xbox games as long as you have a decent internet connection.
It's just
it's crazy.
They're doing so much. They're doing really well. I'm looking forward to seeing how well it plays out. I'm really looking forward to. I just want Sony to react, and I don't think they will. Like, Xbox have had Game Pass for ages. Sony gives you 2 free games every month for the PS Plus, but that's their old games. It's never a brand new game like this. That's so compelling right now, Microsoft. I'm not a console fanboy, but I've had a PS3, PS4, and like I said, I like the exclusives of Sony, but it's not enough right now. They just need to do something.
Personally, I don't think that Sony needs to react. Yeah, well, they do need to, but I guess profit.
Fine.
It's not even that. It's that short term they're going to continue selling consoles because even if somebody wanted an Xbox and no one was buying PlayStations, people will then buy PlayStations because it's the only console they'd be able to buy due to stock demands and all of that. I think it's more a year to 18 months time when stock is in full flow. That's when Sony are going to start to feel the pinch because that's when people will be choosing one console over the other because they have choice. At the moment, consumers don't have choice. They're probably buying whatever's available on the shelves. So I guess it'll be interesting to see.
We have lots of people from Sony watching right now, so hopefully they can take advice and learn and be like, they've hit the nail on the head. Let's start thinking now.
Liam, we didn't give them any advice though. We just said they need to do something.
Yeah, that's advice.
Oh, okay, brilliant. Wow, yeah, they're definitely.
Don't come to my therapy sessions.
Yeah, you just need to fix some of your issues. So, okay.
Yeah, it works.
Wow,
Just
brilliant.
hear it every now and then.
Yeah, so again, let us know in the comments. Are you normally a PlayStation player and more drawn now to Xbox because of the Game Pass stuff? It's just such a tempting proposition. I used it. There was almost too much for me to play, and I ended up in that sort of decision paralysis. It was like, I want to play that and that.
It's going to be like Netflix, isn't it? Like you don't know what to pick, and you spend hours choosing, and you play for 10 minutes. You're like, I'll find something else. But you can, which is a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on. Oh, Nvidia. We knew this was going to happen. Yeah. So first, in fact, you lead with this one that you wrote. So
the 3060, the unhackable graphics card, has been hacked. So they hacked it, so you can't mine Ethereum with it. It's a different coin called Conflux, but people are mining to full capacity with the 3060. Nvidia said it wasn't possible.
And then, there's a new beta driver, depending where you're from, for the 3060 that just basically unlocks the mining cap.
And that was Nvidia did that.
Yeah, Nvidia did that. So no hacks, no nothing. Probably a mistake.
I mean, that person has lost their job, surely.
But the thing is, now that driver is ultimately out in the wild, so anybody who can get it again and just reinstall it on their device. So it stinks of PR. That's all it was. Is they turn around and went, we're doing this for gamers. We're introducing our new 3060 cards. They're unhackable and they're going to be just for gamers. So miners, go away. But for you miners, boom, we have our mining cards. It's just like, oh my god, it was just. We talked about this before. We hated it, and
it's just money grab. And as a business, it's money grabbing. But don't try to cover it. Don't roll shit in glitter.
Yeah, exactly. Just
maybe. It's annoyed me more that that Nvidia themselves have released one. Like you said, it's probably a mistake. I don't really care that much that someone has hacked it because we always knew it was going to be hacked. We always knew someone would be able to be like, yeah, I'm going to use that to its full mining capacities. But then Nvidia goes,
whoopsie.
Oops. Yeah, come on, Nvidia. Either give me a free one or fix your shit.
Hey, you remember when you tried to buy 3060 Ti? Let's not bring that back up. And it got pulled out of the basket. I think he is going to finally cry. And it is crazy. And again, it's just crazy times for hardware at the moment. And it just seems to be across the board in general. It's just an absolute nightmare. If you want to upgrade your console, upgrade your PC, or upgrade your console, if you want to buy a console to upgrade it with, it's just not going to happen. If you want to do some cloud gaming, well, Nvidia ran out of stock of their Founders Edition monthly plan, and Shadow Gaming has gone bankrupt. So
maybe Google Stadia is going to take a rise from the ashes.
Maybe.
The only thing left.
Do we really think that might happen?
No.
Or
it will, and then Google will cancel it.
Yeah, just as it takes off, it'll peak and then they'll cancel it. And this is why retro games are apparently the way forward. So what a time for us to be getting into some retro gaming. Yes. By the way, if you have any retro games or games consoles that you would like to see us play or unbox, for me, in fact, what do you think should be our first retro console? I really want to go and play the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast?
Yeah, I love the Dreamcast.
I don't know how old it was. But in my little hometown, there's one computer shop, one electric shop. I went there with my dad, and my dad bought a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And then I watched him play Sonic for about 10 hours. Oh. It was revolutionary, because you had a little...
Yeah, the memory card. You could put
that was a game, and I was like playing on
the cows on them.
Yeah, and then the House of the Dead.
Oh, God. Code Veronica, Resident Evil Code Veronica.
The fishing one with a fishing rod. Yeah. But if you use that fishing rod in Soul Calibur, it had motion. It was the Wii before the Wii.
Yeah.
It was the Xbox before the Xbox. It was everything.
The Dreamcast was such a good console. Amazing. It was just amazing, and it just failed. It killed Sega.
Yeah, it's quite upsetting. Yeah. I was thinking more just normal Game Boy.
Yeah, I already have one.
Well, do you not have a Dreamcast?
No.
How much would it be a Dreamcast to buy now? This is the thing.
No, they're about £80.
£80.
£80.
How much they were brand new? Inflation.
Wow, inflation just destroyed everything. So yeah, I think something like a Dreamcast would be quite fun just to unbox and mess around with.
Do you have a TV you can plug one into?
You can get the adapters for it, so we'll have to figure that out. We'll figure all of this out. N64, bit of GoldenEye.
Yeah, I've got the Pokemon Stadium N64 in the north.
Oh, you need to go once lockdown ends. We're sending you north. You need to go get that. So yeah, again, let us know if you'd like to see us do some retro. We're gonna do it, regardless if you want to see it or not. It's happening. So just stay tuned.
Two bald men in a room when COVID's over.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's not breach lockdown, Liam. So yeah, that's it. So unless anyone's got any comments, questions, throw them in there quickly before we sign off. That has been our tech news. It's been a quiet one this week.
Very quiet this week.
Really
it's quite
quiet.
difficult to. There's like kind of squeeze blood from a rock to get news this week. I
Exactly.
really struggled. So.
So you know what? Fingers crossed. Next week might be a little bit more news packed. But as always, I hope you have enjoyed the tech news, and if you have, hit the subscribe button because we would love to have you over at the channel. We've got all sorts
Where
of.
is it? Is it here?
It could be there. It could be here. Who knows? Wherever that subscribe button appears on your screen, you need to click it. And tell your friends to click it as well, because we're going to have lots of awesome content coming up in the future. In the meantime, stay